Hey, Domestic Don Josh Landers on the road here. Trying out the old sticky, mobile, plasticky device. I don't know, something that sticks to the, I don't know. I'm not gonna stick it on the outside of my car, there's no way. I'm cheap, I'm half Jewish. This camera costs, you know, around 500 bucks, I think. So I'm definitely not gonna strap it on the outside of my car, have to rig it with fishing line and twine and shit so it doesn't fall out. I can't afford another one. So I'm basically just taking this, again, another test run, doing a lot of test runs, going to the library. I have a whole canvas shopping bag full of books that I have to return. And as you know, there's a kid on a motorcycle for some reason. As you know, in this lovely state, one of the good things is, I don't know if this is a nationwide stature or idea, but the libraries no longer have due dates. Now you can pretty much take a book out for as long as you want without any sort of fees, without any librarian trying to track you down. There's a car in the middle of the fucking road for no reason. Move. So yeah, I'm gonna return these books and maybe get another one, maybe get some more. Go pick up my daughter in a little bit, about 20 minutes away or so. She's at a friend's house after school. Get myself a little iced coffee from Mick Cafe. I know, judge me, $2.72 for a large shitty cup of coffee. That's all right, but it's better than going to some pretentious fucking Pete's Coffee or some other Bay Area country and get like a $7 iced chai latte. Better than Starbucks, all right? I like my white trash. I like my McDonald's coffee. I haven't eaten McDonald's, a physical item of food, in a long while. But I'll get the coffee because I'm cheap. Little afternoon pick-me-up. And, you know, something, my 12th day sober. I deserve something, don't I? I deserve a little treat every once in a while. And that's what I've noticed when I stopped drinking the old, the beer, the old alcohol, the fucking gut, yeast gut and all that shit. What I find out about myself is that I get a lot more sugar cravings, of course. Just like every other addict out there, once they quit something, they get on something else. We're all addicts. I'm tired of Instagram gurus talking about how you can do this and don't do that, and don't eat Costco hot dogs and shit. Fuck off, let people live. You know, you're on Instagram. You're trying to be a guru on Instagram. You're not doing anything good. I just cut this guy off, but not really. He was going a little too fast for a neighborhood thing. I wish you could see the road, but maybe you're seeing my reactions now. I would like to see the face. The facial, I'm trying to be natural here. Move. The facial reactions of driving, because I'm an angry driver. I've picked that up from childhood, most likely. I believe my dad was an angry driver. I remember him yelling at cars quite a bit. Are you gonna wait? Are you gonna let the whole street turn green? That was a famous quote I remember from Pierre Tica. Are you gonna wait for the whole street to turn green? That's a good one. I like that, because that means someone at a stoplight is not going when the light is green. I don't know. I don't even know exactly what that meant. One time when my dad was putting tile on the floor, I believe vinyl. We couldn't really afford Pergo or real tile, hard tile with mausoleums, linoleum. No, linoleum's vinyl. Anyways, he was putting these sticky vinyl sheets down in our concrete hallway where I grew up, and I remember, hey Dad, what are you doing? And I was probably 7 or 8, and he looks at me and he's down on all fours, probably his shirt's off, sweating, 12 hours at the post office, bitter, angry, pissed off at maybe life, I don't know, who knows. But he just looks up at me and said, waiting for a bus. So obviously, and I've used that on my children as well, or on kids in general. They said, what are you doing? And they can tell what I'm doing. I'm like cooking an egg, I'm putting on my shoes, I'm taking a shit, and maybe my kids might have came into the room, Dad, what are you doing? Waiting for a bus. It's a good way to get out of stuff. It's a good way to get out of kid conversation, talking to your children, and it's also a little belittling, which I like. It's degrading. It's down-putting on the child, which I appreciate. And it is, kids are stupid. So obviously, what the fuck? What do you think I'm doing? Yeah, my dad was laying tile. Why would I ask that? Why would I ask, what are you doing, Dad? So waiting for a bus. That's another good one. So I think the bitterness of driving has definitely stemmed, doesn't fall too far from the tree, as they say. There's a rattle in my truck. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Here comes an ambulance. All right, he's going straight. I'm gonna see, all right, see how many people pull over for him? Probably not many. All right, light's green. It's only about a couple of miles to the library, but there's no way I could ride my bike with like 90 pounds of books on my back. And like I said, I have to pick up my daughter. And now there's cars stopped in the middle of the street. Now someone's turning left. All right. Go. I wonder how many people drive with their left foot, meaning they brake or drive with 2 feet. I think that happens quite a bit because this person in front of me has their brake lights on even though they're speeding ahead of me. Left foot drivers. I can understand like Daniel Day-Lewis and my left foot. He had to drive. I don't think he could drive because he couldn't use it. What did he drive with, his tongue? I think he could use his tongue in that movie, but he could only use his left foot for other things. And imagine that, only being able to use your left foot. Painting, eating, jerking it. Had to be a tough life. That's why they made a movie. But they made a movie out of him, right? More than people who have all 4 limbs. They're not making a lot of 4-limbed movie. You know what I ate the other night? I made some pork loin or shoulder or rib, I don't know what it was, some sort of cut of pork, and my wife bought a couple of marinades at the store, and when I was putting this marinade on, tomatillo sauce into the slow cooker onto the pork, I was reading the label and it says women owned. It said women owned on the jar, and which is fine. They made a spicy salsa, and I appreciate when women own things that men usually do, I guess. I noted a few times when we went to, I believe, Bend, Oregon, Deschutes Brewing Company is women owned. I believe Lost Coast Brewing Company up in Eureka is also women owned. So, you know, I'll note that. I'll put a little asterisk against people, you know, let people know that, hey, this is like a man's business. But women, but on the salsa, or not the salsa, the marinade, it said women owned. I guess I didn't appreciate that aside on the jar. Who cares? What if I put man owned? Is it gonna get less sales? Can men not? Do men own the marinade enterprise? Do we own that market? Is there no room for women in the marinade aisle, pantry aisle at Target or Whole Foods? I think women own a lot of that. Aren't women more of the marinators? I believe they marinate children in their wombs. They marinate food, right? They're usually the cooks at home. What the fuck are you doing? Drive. You put on your blinker for 80 feet. This fucking cunt. Look at this. Can you see him behind me? Toyota. You can't see shit. All right. Jesus Christ. All right. So now I'm going to park, go to the library, turn around here, see if I can find a parking spot. It's not like the library's busy. Nobody goes to, here's one. Nobody goes to the library. I'm just trying to find a spot where I don't have to walk too far with this big fucking sack of love here. I think my truck's going to fit. I don't know. Am I blocking something? I can't tell. Is there a fucking driveway here? I don't know what this is. I don't know. All right, library time. I'm gonna go smell some bums and eat licorice. I don't know. All right, here we go again. Got my McCafe iced coffee, no flavor. Go! Fucking A. Never trust a Tesla driver and never trust someone who wears a mask while they're driving, ever. I don't care if you're a transit care. Doesn't matter if you're supporting or transporting septuagenarians or octogenarians. If you wear a mask while you're driving, you cannot be trusted. I don't care if you wear a mask at the bank, at the gym, at the store. But when you're driving by yourself, you're evil. You're a specimen of cruelty. Now we're waiting to get on the main drag here, Highway 12. All right, these guys are zooming here. Okay, went through a red light. All right, so there's a Starbucks over here, and the line's like 12 deep, 12 cars deep. Even the McDonald's line, about 6 cars, 7 cars sticking out into the road. And why don't people just walk in anymore? I was in and out of there within 3-4 minutes. I didn't even order at the kiosk this time. As you know, most places are going robotic, Mr. Roboto. And I went in and I actually talked to someone. I paid cash. I had actually some cash on me. Handed them $3 bills, which is pretty rare for me to have any cash on me whatsoever. Why are there brake lights? Jesus Christ, this is... What time is it? 3:51. I guess this is pseudo rush hour in this area. There's a big truck trying to get it. Is there an accident? I'm gonna get over. I don't think there's an accident. I think it's just people getting over late, I believe. The main drag, probably about 15 minutes away from getting my daughter from her friend's house, who live even further away, up a mountain in the middle of nowhere. Sort of kind of my my niche, my area of want is to live in a place like that with nobody around. But of course, it is not to be in this area. So now we're getting some, making some headway here. Going in the 40s, towards 50. Maybe I'll get a 360 camera so you guys can see out the window, rather than just look at my reaction video while I'm driving. Maybe I'll take my glasses off to see more reaction. The angry eyes. And I think I've said every cuss word, every racial epithet. I say the worst shit when I'm by myself driving. I'm sure all you guys do too. There's no way you don't. I try to curb it as much as I can when I'm driving my kid around, my kids. Well, I don't drive my son that much anymore, but even with my, but I can't hold it. I can't hold it. I can't hold a lot of, I can't hold all of it in. I can definitely restrain myself from the misogyny, the racism against all people. It's not like not a single, men and women too, misogyny against men. What's that called? I don't know, but I just call everybody a cunt, an idiot, an asshole. I don't know what they are. I call people bitches. You bitch, and I don't know who they are. It could be a man. A man could be a bitch. You know, the majority of people, I'd say high 80s percentile, maybe 90, that are not good drivers. And even more so now with tech, as I'm speaking to you now with my my camera attached, suckered to my window here. All right, let me get in front of this asshole. Deer crossing signs. Haven't seen a deer on the road here though, but there could be. We're getting now into the sticks, out of the city proper, into the more open land. But then when it gets to open land, now we're going into wine country. And I think every time I drive out here, every time I drive around wineries, I really wonder, how do they make money? Every winery you see is like it's a castle. They live in fucking castles with just massive property around them, massive acreage, beautiful tasting rooms, usually pristine furniture like oak and wood and just kind of earthy, but it's always pretty. The landscape, that's what draws people in, right? Is the landscape. But how do they make money? Most of these wineries I've never heard of. I don't order wine at restaurants. I've never ordered actually a glass of wine ever at a restaurant. Maybe I should start doing that, but it's always $12, $13 a glass. In this area, $8 beers, it's not much more to get a glass of wine that'll you know, get you a little bit more intoxicated quickly. I'm just not a wine guy. I don't enjoy it as much as I do beer. But I've never really noticed on a wine list, all of these wine, are they all local? Do they all sell to local restaurant? How do they make money? How do they have these $1 million properties and I've never really seen their bottles on the shelves, or I've never bought them? I know my wife does. I know some people who work in the wine industry, or at least not with wineries, engage with wineries directly, but maybe they work in a warehouse dealing with wine. I did have a friend who worked at a winery, obviously, but I don't think he wasn't in the sales. He wasn't in the making of wine. But how do they make money? Do they sell their bottles for $900? If you buy a bottle of wine, is it $900, please? And how do they the upkeep? So I just don't get it. And there's tons of them around here. I know it's Sonoma County. I know Napa County is world famous for all its wine. Sideways, Paul Giamatti, the other dude. Charles Bukowski, whatever he talked about in that movie, you know, Sideways. It's a big industry. I understand, but how do they make the money? If any of my 5 listeners, my 19 subscribers on YouTube now, can you please in a comment let me know how, if you work for a winery, if you know how they make money? Or just please, it's something that is really irking me lately. I kind of understand how breweries do. They make money just off the sales. There's a lot of, every time I go to a brewery, there's people there drinking. When I go to a winery, when I've been dragged and bamboozled to be brought to a winery to go wine tasting, there's usually not that many people there. There might be like a busload of like 30-something or probably like 40-something-year-old women who are ditching their husbands and their kids for the day. They want to get some strange dick on the way home. Maybe they'll suck off the bus driver, what have you. You know, then you might have a couple of young twats like in their 20s, like, oh, we're 21 now, we can drink at winery. They go there, they like the ambiance. They're foodies. You know, whinies, or what are they called? Winos? No, that's what bums are. What are they called? What are wine people called? Assholes? I think that's what it is. Stained teeth assholes. And we're going by one now. Westwood Winery. Never heard of it. There's one coming up, St. Francis. Is he a saint? Never heard of it. There's other ones, Kunt. I think it's Kunde? Kunde? Kunta Quinta. They're all, look at it, I'm all by vineyards. I know you can't see it, but they're all vineyards here. There's not one car in the parking lot. I don't see one migrant worker slaving in the rain-soaked fields. And they have to pay those. Maybe that's how they make the money. They don't pay their employees. So there's like a husband and wife, retired. Maybe the husband was like some big contractor at some point, got bored, got tired, burnt out. Let's buy a couple acres. Maybe they owned a couple acres already. Maybe they're smart and bought in the 80s when this land wasn't worth shit. Or not as much as it is now, and they opened a winery. They smashed some grapes. The husband and wife, they took off their boots and they just squished their hairy toes. The man and woman with their hairy knuckled toes, and they boned in the grapes and they jizzed all over it, and they rubbed their oils and they called it organic wine, 0 sulfites. And they said, hey, let's hire these guys on the road. Let's go behind Home Depot and hire these guys. And we'll say they're winemakers, but we won't pay them. We'll give them bottles of wine for Christmas and to take home every night. And they'll be happy. They won't say anything. Sugarloaf Winery. It's a wine company. We're on a scenic route. It doesn't look too scenic. A lot of cars in front of me. Go! God, Teslas. This is my theory is coming to fruition. Tesla in front of me. They're supposed to be fast. It's like a spaceship on the ground. Still going slow. All right, there's cows over there. Do cows make wine? Or what the hell is that? Is that a fish farm? I don't know. But it is pretty out here. Outside of the line of traffic and the cars, we have leafless oaks, deciduous trees. Are they perennials? Anal beads? I don't know. Pretty mountain over here. I guess is that Sugarloaf Mountain? It's a dumb name. What the hell's a Sugarloaf? I got a pinch of loaf. I don't know what Sugarloaf is. But I'm coming up here pretty soon. All right, wine. How do we make money? How do they make money? Signing off.